Good day and welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yolanda Martins and with me is CEO of RIG, Willem Lategan. Today we're going to unpack the non-domestic policy environment. Willem, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks Yolanda, and also to our viewers. And we basically do a whole webinar in our School of Wisdom for Wealth on this very interesting topic of non-domestic policy. So in essence, a non-domestic policy is a policy that gets issued outside the borders of South Africa by a real international firm. So it's not your typical domestic policy that you would, most of our viewers will know, very well. So we're quickly going to speak to 5 benefits. In our webinar, we unpack this much more, but this is just to give our viewers a taste of what they can experience in this webinar.
So to start, can the use of a non-domestic policy help to reduce your estate duty?
Absolutely, yes. So if it's structured in the right way, it can. And this is a piece of good news here. So there's important things to remember here. You must decide when you take out this policy and make up your mind and know that this is actually a non-domestic policy. You can't change your beneficiaries. Now it's South Africa and then it's offshore. You must stick to what you've decided. Obviously, the policy must pay out offshore in an offshore bank account. And then, this is very important, the life assured, the premium payer, and the owner of this policy must all be the same person. So if you stick to these, there's not much that can go wrong. So this benefit, I can very briefly say, yes, there's an absolute planning opportunity here, that you can have a policy that's not dutiable, and where you don't pay executives fees and actually pay out in an overseas bank account with any estate duty.
So Willem, can the use of an offshore trust in combination with a non-domestic policy help to protect assets and minimize taxes?
Yeah, once again, definitely. And the moment we speak about trusts, we must understand it's not domestic, our local trusts. These are offshore trusts, and we do a webinar in conjunction with this non-domestic policies webinar, which we call a short-form trust webinar. So there's a much cheaper way where ordinary people can access offshore trusts by using a short-form trust. So I just want to say that people don't think, an offshore trust is beyond my reach. But in essence, you've got this offshore trust. It gets funded by the proceeds of this non-domestic life policy. And the proceeds of that policy is protected for your minors in the trust, or is protected against your creditors, which is huge. And also the proceeds of the policy is handed to a non-individual, to a trust. There's no use that I have a non-domestic policy that's free from estate duty and my son inherits it, and eventually he pays estate duty on that. You actually want to avoid paying estate duty all along. Yeah, so that is definitely the second benefit. But to use a non-domestic policy with the offshore trust.
So how can the proceeds of a non-domestic policy actually improve liquidity?
It can help a lot. So clients have got offshore estates. They've got houses and property and investments, and there's a lot of taxes potentially internationally on those. So you don't want to sell a house. You actually want a policy that pays out without estate duty, but pays out internationally, that can help pay these taxes. So a non-domestic policy can help a lot to settle your duties, but also to pay debt. So let's say you're indebted overseas, you borrowed some money from a bank to buy a property, you can clear the debt with a non-domestic policy.
So which business assurance challenges can be addressed by using non-domestic policies?
Well, there's a huge field of planning opportunities here. Let's say we've got a business internationally and I were to pass away and you want to buy out my stake in the business. No use getting rands from South Africa. The currency is immediately issue. We've got a hard currency business, and now you need approval from the Reserve Bank to get the funds overseas. So it's just much easier, to have your, let's say, buy and sell policy or solution here to get that funded by a non-domestic policy.
What is the position with an heir who is a beneficiary for the proceeds of a policy if he or she did not formally immigrate from South Africa?
Sure. Yeah, and yeah, Yolanda, this is like a minefield, this whole thing of a beneficiary's residency from a tax perspective, but also from the exchange control perspective. So we deal a lot with this in the webinars. So our viewers are very welcome to actually register for the webinar and understand more about this, because this is very topical. But to give you the short answer, the easy way out is take out a non-domestic policy, have the policy pay out internationally, and where tax residency is not an issue. So whether one of your children has formally immigrated or not, that's not the issue here. The proceeds actually get paid overseas and it's not blocked in a South African Rand block account. Yeah.
So we're talking about non-domestic policies with CEO at RIG, Willem Lategan. What are your concluding remarks today?
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot more about this in our online course, but in essence, non-domestic policies can be used very effectively in various ways, in very tax-efficient ways in offshore planning. And this is a very exciting new field, especially with all the interest in offshore planning.
Do you want to remind our viewers of the short form trust?
Oh, definitely. So in our School of Wisdom for Wealth, it's important to look at this course that we've designed. It's a short course on the short form trust, and to do that course in conjunction with our course on non-domestic policies. But then there's an older course, our basic global planning course, that also fits very well with these. So it can be worthwhile to look at all three of these courses.
Where can we get a hold of you?
Yeah, thank you, Yolanda, and also to our viewers. They are welcome to visit our website, rig.ac. There they can access our online learning platform, the School of Wisdom for Wealth. They can email us at info@rig.ac, or they're always welcome to call us on 086 12 21 777.
Willem, thank you so much, and thank you for joining us today as well. Why don't you register for one of those online courses today? Until next time, I'm Yolanda Martins.